Hello, I'm Mohammed Alo,
And I'm Amy Ye.
and we'll be presenting on mental health and positivity. So before we get into our presentation, we just wanted to list out some of the objectives. First, we want to give a brief description of positive psychology. Second, we'll relate that to positive emotions and mental health, and then we'll briefly touch upon the broaden and build theory.
Then we're also going to talk about both the psychological and physiological effects of positive emotion and mental health on our bodies, and then talk about some resources here at Emory to help us stay positive. Okay, psychology. When we hear the term psychology, we probably think of what we call conventional psychology that treats pathology and mental illness, and it asks what is wrong with you. However, there's this new form coming up called positive psychology that's defined as what makes life worth living, and instead it asks what's right with you, and it focuses on life satisfaction and meaning.
Positive psychology is important because it's a novel way at addressing well-being. It doesn't look at well-being as just the mere absence of mental illness and disease, but it also tries to cultivate well-being by promoting these 5 qualities. The first of which is positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning and purpose, and also accomplishment. And for the sake of our presentation, we'll just be focusing on positive emotion. And we could probably all guess that joy, contentment, interest, and love are all positive emotions. But what me and Amy want to stress on is that positive emotion is not a static, temporary condition, but rather a dynamic one. It isn't strictly a response to an event, but can also cause both psychological and physiological growth. In other words, positive emotions don't only signal well-being, but can actually produce well-being at the same time. And on this slide, we use the broaden and build theory just to illustrate some of the dynamic qualities of positive emotions. And according to Fredrickson, who developed this theory, positive emotions help broaden our horizons because they make us both more open and receptive to new ideas and possibilities. And when we become more creative, we can actually build personal resources by acquiring both personal skills and developing stronger support groups by way of positive relationships.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the effects of positive emotion on our bodies, both physiological and psychological. First is physiological. In a study conducted by the University of Cambridge, they followed a group of participants over a 7-year study. And at first, they took all baseline data, including blood pressure, respiratory function, and the general health questionnaire, which is a highly regarded questionnaire that quantifies mental health in a score. And then after the 7 years, they took all that over again, and they found that those who regressed in their mental health score also had an increased blood pressure and decreased respiratory function value. And in the 6-year post-study follow-up, they had a significantly increased chance of stroke, whereas those who increased their mental score in the second questionnaire had a greatly decreased chance of stroke and maintained a healthy blood pressure and respiratory function value.
So this study that I'm going to talk about was actually conducted by one of Emory's own, Dr. Corey Keyes. And before I delve into this study, I just want to mention the fact that they don't explicitly talk about positive emotions, but they do use positive emotions as a measure to determine mental health. So what Dr. Corey Keyes and his research group did was take a cohort of 1,723 participants, and they measured both their mental health and mental illness in 1995, and they did the same thing 10 years later in 2005. And what the research group was able to conclude, or what they were able to find, was that the likelihood of those in 1995 to develop mental illness 10 years later, that likelihood decreased by 24% for every unit of mental health. So basically, if someone moved from the languishing state to the moderate mental health state, their likelihood of decreasing mental illness 10 years later went down by 24%. And what this shows is that mental health can actually be a predictor of mental illness. And by cultivating positive emotions, which are directly linked to mental health, we can reduce our risk of developing mental illness.
resources here at Emory are including the Counseling Center, which is located at 1462 Clifton Road. So if you're feeling like you're not always having an easy time staying positive, they're always eager and welcome for students to come in. And even if you do feel like you're a happy and positive person, they can still help you connect to campus and help you more academically and socially connect. There are also classes at the WIPEC. Have any of you guys heard of them or taken one? Awesome, good. So they offer a wide range of courses, and it's a fun way to help you get your friends and go stay active, because studies by the University of Cambridge have shown that those who have physical activity in their daily lives have a much higher self-reported positive emotion.
So you might be wondering how the Office of Student Leadership and Service is connected and how it relates to positive emotions and mental health. But when we engage in the community and we develop leadership skills, we are able to foster positive emotions. And because of that, we can build social support groups, build supportive friendships with people, friendships with other students, and sometimes other people in the community that are sometimes disadvantaged. And it's very powerful. But perhaps the best resource at Emory, in my opinion, is a Sociology 330 class with Dr. Corey Keys, who actually came to one of our Health 200 classes and spoke. And in that course, you'll be analyzing mental health and well-being from both a sociological and a psychological perspective.
We asked a freshman how staying positive in a time of stress helped her out. So Mirandy Lee, who's on the pre-med track, says, "I'm a part of Jumpstart and Emory EMS while taking both general chemistry and biology my very first year of being at Emory. I felt completely inundated with work at first, but volunteering with Jumpstart and EAMS has helped motivate me academically." So for Mirandy, her outlet is to volunteer, and when she does, she feels the positive emotions, and that helps her flourish in all other aspects of her life also.
So before we let you guys all go, we just want to remind you that positive emotions do help us grow. And also, however, we also want to encourage you to just keep in mind that however difficult the situation may be, just always be positive and it will get better.